So, I was recently talking about that Sylosis track somewhere. I couldn't find, and then I looked it up and finally remembered. It's from the album Supreme Oppressor, and the track here is Blind Desperation. I believe it's the last track on the album, or the EP rather. And it's such an interesting arrangement. It's like metalcore, which is really interesting for Sylosis because it's not exactly what you would call metalcore when you obviously listen to the Sylosis stuff that's actually published, the albums and stuff. I mean, um, Blind Desperation has some interesting parts in it, obviously. It's quite complex, got plenty going on. It's got a solo near the beginning, which is interesting. But it's got some of my favourite parts in it later on. There's like a entire fucking bridge. There's like a chorus as well, I think. There's like a bridge leading into another bridge, I think. It's a metalcore bit. Yeah. And you get this sort of almost breakdowny sounding bit. There's like a key change in it. It sounds interesting. And the part after, I think, is probably one of my favourites. They got the vocals coming in. But the part after is what's so interesting, and it actually became an inspiration for me making some of my music, weirdly enough. Because it's like this sweeping bit with some key changes as well, and it sounds so interesting. It has this like, almost like calm before the storm, with just two leads doing the sweeping. It's like, not sweeping, I mean arpeggios, I forget them sometimes. Yeah, it's probably my favourite part of the track, which is always so interesting listening back on. I'm still not quite sure how you're supposed to play it though, because I've transcribed it and I've sort of struggled to do it. And then it goes into this chorusy bit and into a breakdown near the end. It's interesting. I don't remember the breakdown near the end though. And it goes back into the same riff as before. Yeah, it's a very interesting track, and I think it's probably a surprise to people who've known Sylosis through obviously the popular albums like The Last Remaining Light, I think it was, and Edge of the Earth, even Dormant Heart. I forget the names of the albums, so sorry if I'm getting them wrong. But there are songs from each album. And yeah, it's very interesting. And also Leech, I think, is one of them, was it? Not sure if that's the name though. But yeah, definitely some interesting early stuff that never actually got properly published, which is kind of disappointing as well, I would admit. I sort of wish it was published because, well, I mean published officially, I mean, because you can only find an album of it on YouTube, and I don't know if you can find albums of it elsewhere, which is a weird thing. And it only really came across to me when I first listened to Sylosis, and there was an upload to the Customer's Watch, well, Ignition for anyone unaware, it's like the specific database for it. But there's a custom DLC, and I saw Sylosis, and then this album I'd never heard of. I was thinking, hang on, I've listened to everything Sylosis has, so what is the deal here? And then I looked at it, and there's the bloody EP, wasn't it? And there was a few others with that same upload. So I also did some research, and that's how I found this, and found that. There was also I think an EP before that, which was kind of shorter. I don't know if it was any good, I can't remember. Definitely quite early in its, well, in the works really. It's hard to say, but yeah, I do recommend listening to this album though. It's called The Supreme Oppressor, because you've definitely heard nothing like it before in terms of Sylosis, and I do like other tracks from it. I'm pretty sure I like Manipulation Through Idols, I think that's another good track. And I swear there is another one that I like. Yeah, it's quite interesting really, looking back on it. Yeah, there is surprises here and there, for sure. And yeah, sure that's all I have to speak about here, so yeah, let's move on. Well, this is a weird interaction, because I don't really get many sort of, I don't know if you call them cold callers or something, but wackos who preach something. I haven't had any in a long time. Like, there used to be a few when I was a kid. Called like the Jehovah's Witnesses going around doors doing shit, just trying to convince people. And then it just happened to my housemate, or well, both, really. I didn't answer, I don't really have the fucking energy, I'm too ill as well. I literally up most of the night and had diarrhea, stomach pains, back pain. It's very unusual. I made some notes from what I heard from the security footage, so yeah, it's just a bunch of stupid shit. Again, it's so fucking annoying. And it's the same crap over and over. At least they weren't preaching about doomsday, but they were essentially ignoring all the valid points. Again, proving it's fucking absolute garbage. This shit isn't believable at all. So I did make notes of basically what's said, and also it's a bit scummy that they take advantage of people like this, tries to preach something that very much doesn't actually exist from what we actually understand of the world. And even then, just trying to put words in people's mouths. So I made a few notes. It said the Bible has answers to everything. No, it doesn't. It doesn't have answers to technological problems. It doesn't have answers to a lot of life's problems, like even our mental health issues and stuff. Like, it doesn't even have an answer to preventing addiction. So, no, it doesn't have fucking answers. I have no idea where you get this idea from, but once again, it's like they forge these ideas in their head of what religion is, but it's not. Religion is not anything to do with these things. It's completely separate. And the people who actually only preach it accurately would have read said Bible and found their own answers from that. So, not these made up ones, but their own. Again, from reading. So it's really fucking stupid. But then the next thing they say something really cringe, which is about the political situation and stuff, and how God has a king, who is Jesus. Yeah, that's kind of false and inaccurate, I'm pretty sure. Because Jesus is the son of God, not the fucking king. And if he was king, then I don't know, I'll be asking him to do things to help us, to get us out of this horrible situation. And, you know, truth be told, over the last few weeks, I've actually been praying in my head. Been like asking for something good to happen finally and for things to change, but it doesn't happen. And it's weird enough, given that I think my heart's in the right place, and again, I'm not being listened to. So, yeah, the fact is, there is no God, there is no answer. So, what do you expect? Like, I can't really understand this shit. So when there is a supposed like king for God, then who the fuck is it? Because it's not Jesus. And if I had to guess, when I think about this on a spiritual level, I literally realise that it's the devil. It's not Jesus, it's the fucking devil. It's always the devil in God's place. That's one thing I've consistently realised, and that's whatever happens when there's something religious happening around the world. Yeah, the only people you don't hear going to wars, as far as I understand, is probably like a Buddhist and what's that other sect of religion? Jainists? I think it's Jainists. I could be wrong about that, but yeah, it's absolutely absurd, really. There's also Satanists, but different thing entirely. And people again imagine things about them that don't actually exist, which is always funny. Because they don't get the fucking information. It's real stupid. So yeah, then the next thing they say, which is about governments and stuff, and they say that God's government is more powerful than our government. Again, mega cringe, mega yikes. Doesn't fucking exist. Like, do I even need to review this? Again, it's like made up things. It's literally the thing that they do. They come up with an idea, they put it on paper or something, and use that as a catchphrase sort of thing. There's a lot of that sort of stuff, and that's also how they're sort of raking money as well. You know, God told you to donate, but they might even propose it something different. Like if you want these children to survive, then you have to donate whatever money. It's really fucking stupid. It's insane how bad it is. So yeah, and as for God's government being more powerful, quote unquote, yeah, it's not. It's essentially what it's designed to do from the get-go, where it's essentially a controlling method. You know, essentially, it was Jesus' plan, and it's just my theory, by the way. Again, I can make up things, and it's still as valid. But I reckon Jesus did this to essentially convince people of this position and make them look like idiots. So essentially his job was done. That's why he was crucified. It's like witchcraft to people hearing that. Like, oh, I was born through a virgin and I'm the son of God. But that's literally made up. Which really tells you something. Because that's not possible. And the way we understand it as well through evolution, there is no such thing as a virgin getting pregnant. It just doesn't fucking exist. Well, unless you go for medical science, but we didn't have medical science in Stone Ages and, you know, basically whenever humans started. And I'd be surprised if we did. I'd have to question time travellers on that, but yeah. And then the next thing they say is, hell is not torture, and we are not worth time and the passage of time in sleep. What the fuck? Of course hell is torture, you absolute morons. It fucking exists, and you preach this. I don't know why they pretend that it doesn't exist or it doesn't torture people, because that's literally what it is described as. It's described in the Bible, from what I understand it, as hellfire and I can't remember what the other thing was actually, it was something else, but basically everything bad is there. And essentially you're stuck there for an eternity for not believing in a God. But again, some of these things are made up, and I do agree that a lot of the things, I think they did say this, a lot of the things that people even present as hell is often false, because we don't actually know what it is. And we can only go off what the scriptures say, assuming they're to be believed, because it's always assumption at this point, rather than evidence. We don't have a GoPro to go into hell yet, but who knows? It could happen, but you never fucking know. So yeah, it's a bit cringe. There is torture in hell. Don't know what you're on about. But then there's the part about not aware of the passage of time and sleep. Yes, you are. I don't know where this fucking comes from, but it's obviously not scientific, because from what I understand about sleep, you essentially go through a cycle. You dream multiple times per day, per night rather, and you forget the dreams that you had before waking up. So you only remember the dream that you woke up from. Woke up? Okay, sure, that's the word. That's just really stupid. I don't really understand that. Just again, another idea they've forged in their head that doesn't actually apply, doesn't exist really. And we do have the passage of time. I don't know if people realise this, but whenever you wake up, you do feel like, you know, you feel tired, you feel like time has passed. I feel this for sure. I don't really know about other people, but it does happen to me. And yeah, again, it's like mega cringe to pick up something like this, like fuck me. But then there's more, because this goes on for about almost 10 minutes, I think, which is fucking insane. Sort of addressing other people in this, but they say a person cries, obviously, if they'd open up the Bible, they find the answer. I don't know who they are. I'm guessing like non-believers and stuff, and people who aren't religious already. I mean, you can have like I think deism, is it, or is it theism? I think it's deism actually, because theism is the obviously religious side. But you do have deism, and people do believe there is a God without religion, and you know it's fine. That's fine to have as a belief. It's just when you practice what you preach, it's like that's the problem. That's why people take issue with religion mostly and the belief of God, because it's been misused. And once again, people use God as a way to funnel their most evil desires, which is again why I say that it feels like the devil is in its place. Because it does feel like that. It feels like people have been hijacked as this belief, and it's literally a belief of the devil rather than even the scriptures or even just anything nice. It's just really bad. So what else is there? Yeah, there's answering, opening out the Bible to find the answers. This is the weird thing as well. Again, it relates to the thing at the beginning about answers, and I was very fucking confused because, like, what answers are we looking for? And I think even my housemate said, if you don't mind me saying, I don't think about. It's like, what's like what answers, and like they didn't really answer it. Like, just I guess the answers to life problems is that's my only assumption. But then it doesn't exist again. As I said, it doesn't predict the things that we have now. It doesn't predict anything about bombs. It doesn't predict anything about technology or even science. So it doesn't have the answers. It's really a misrepresented question, and it's so, or well, unknown statement. But it just doesn't work. Just absolute bullshit again. And then it gets even weirder because obviously me being stuck inside, I could only watch. But there's other housemate went out, said go away, we're not interested in religion, which is kind of funny. Yeah, props for that. Like, pretty much what we believe here in this household too. I don't think there's any secret. I know I'm not really interested in following a religion. It just doesn't make sense to. I can't find the reason, or not necessarily hard, but there's just nothing in it that I can even prescribe to. It just doesn't exist, even something like Buddhism. It just doesn't work. I'm constantly in a chaotic state, so it doesn't work out for me either way. So yeah, just screwed up on the kicker. And they said something really fucking stupid. Obviously the preachers here, that's what I call them. God's kingdom doesn't start wars. Hey? Are you fucking kidding me? Am I hearing this right? What the fuck? It's so dumb. Like, it does. Literally, entire, like, Palestine versus Israel thing, it started because of Israel and their belief. And I don't think that a religion should be spared. And it could be like hijacks possibly, but that's another thing entirely. And then you've got cases like what happened years ago. I think might have been Afghanistan, I could be wrong, or Iraq, but religious extremists will sometimes go that extreme and call sports, literally. So it does fucking happen. I don't know what the hell they're on about. It's literally someone who's uninformed and makes things up. Doesn't even look for the evidence. You could probably even look it up, like I could do it now. And I try to do as best as I can. I was playing this game, but a bit of struggle. So this is wars in the last decade. Let's see. Wikipedia had a feeling it would have that. See what section. Is that just a list or anything? Because a list would be far better. Tons of them in BCEs and stuff, so yeah, it does start wars, so you're already wrong in that aspect. One in 1618 apparently. Religious fragmentation in the Holy Roman Empire. 30 Years War, fucking hell. Long time. Greek independence, what the hell? There's just so many things here. Oh, here we go, timeline. This is Africa though. Oh, America, is it? Okay, you got more. Scrolling up, 1000, that goes to 1950 for Africa again? Say, I think it is Africa. What else is that? It's what America's at. There it is, America's. I've got a spectral here. 2000 literally. And onwards. So the Waco siege, or whatever that is. That's what that is, but you had other ones here. God, there's so many to go through. Bloody Monday, I've heard of that actually. Criteria War, Morrisite War, Mormon Wars, Black Hawk War, Battle of Fort Tar. What the fuck? It also has the colours, it's colour coded, so Christian fundamentalist insurgency against secular was Criteria War, Waco Siege, so yeah. And there's one in the 16th century, but that's obviously not too relevant. And then there's Asian Wars. Wow, there's tons there. So, what's the pink one? Inter-Islamic conflict, okay, so yeah, so obviously this one's still going. I think it's hard to see because this chart is awful. There's no zoom in this. It's Afghan Civil War, Iraq-Iran War, Iraq War, Lebanese Civil War, which is currently going, I think. Iran-Saudi conflict, Yemeni War, and Shia insurgency. So yeah, like, these are religious fucking wars. Like, what the hell are you on about? It doesn't make sense. And even though these are like Islamist wars, mostly, you got some others here. You got into Eastern religious, and for some reason Buddhism is in that, which is interesting. Islamic swords, what the hell is that? Zoroastrian, that's it. Islamic Eastern religious again. So yeah, there's tons of wars here. And there's Europe as well, so still others, like Bosnian War, the Troubles, what the hell that was, Croatian War of Independence. That's just crazy. But yeah, like to say it doesn't cause wars, it does. And you could say like your God doesn't cause wars, but it fucking does. Like, that's a crazy thing. Other religions do, but you're the same. It does cause wars. Like, Trump is literally preaching God to people, even though he doesn't believe in him. I know that for sure. And it's causing wars. Like, you can correlate these beliefs to it, so it just doesn't make sense. Then they say that Jehovah's Witnesses don't go to war, which is just false. Like, what the hell? Do they? It's hard to say. It's like a sect of Christianity, I think, if I'm not mistaken. And to say it doesn't go to wars is just a fucking misrepresentation. Because it is related to Christianity. It's like a straw man, I guess. You're essentially saying you're not part of this, but you are part of it. It's Christianity, so what the fuck? It just genuinely doesn't make any sense. And yeah, basically the conversation goes on, but basically a lot of it is whenever they're called out, these preachers, they ignored my other housemate and still talked to the one who was listening. It's so fucking dumb. Like, what the hell? I don't get why they even bother doing this. Because it's not going to amount to anything. It doesn't help anyone, and it's not even saving us from the current situations. But now I'm watching a video from Gary Economics about how to protect yourself during the Iran economic shock. And yeah, it's so fucking difficult, and at this point I'm gonna need to get something like a printer, because I'm so fucking fed up of having to worry about this. I mean, there's blackouts and stuff because we can't afford anything. What are you gonna do? Guess who's to blame for this shit? Religion. Again, it's Israel versus everyone else, except for the US and UK, it seems, because we're buddy with them. Don't know why. Probably corruption and greed again, hence why they're allowed to rape whoever they want. Yes, they do that. I'm not sure how many people are aware of it, but you're not protecting anyone. You're not protecting women and children, you're raping them. To be on the side of Israel. Just goes without saying. I don't know why people don't realise it's more. But yeah, it's just weird interaction. I really do not get it. It doesn't make sense, all this shit. Just such garbage. It's just so bad. Yeah, I don't really have anything else to add to this, so I better move on. It's just what was interesting to bring up. Well, I just watched one of the most sort of gut-wrenching videos, and it's not even one that involves violence or, just darkness in general. It's something much worse. It's a fucking psychological horror. But this video is called The Iran Economic Shock is Coming, How to Protect Yourself by Gary's Economics. And my god, I feel bad for other people because I'm luckily not really going to be affected by this too badly. Yeah, I say that because I'm not going to have any problems from the crisis unless it increases like delivery prices and stuff, so that might be an issue for some points. But at the same time, it's also going to be a benefit to me in some ways. That's weird to say. But having to essentially walk myself everywhere instead of, driving or getting a car, it's probably going to be a bit beneficial for my health, and it encouraged me to do things more accurately, and you're going to have to pay more for like groceries and stuff because of, again, deliveries, prices going up. But it's still better than the alternative, which is using a fucking car. And I remember when the prices originally went up and stuff, I still have to pay some amount of money towards fuel, because when I get a lift in a car, that tends to be the way around it, and that was before this even happened. Just let that sit in. Before this happened, before the war. So, yeah, it basically means that not much is changing, and however high the prices go, I know that it's going to be somewhat unaffordable. But about the Gary's Economics video, it basically summed up means we're fucked. And I say that because the country of the world, as we know it, is going to fucking collapse. It's bad enough that we already have an increase in prices, but we're also seeing things other than that. So, like people, assets and stuff, which I saw in the comments is actually really accurate. Like people are the assets, not the other way around, which is also really fucking creepy. Like, Jesus. More accurate statement. Something like that anyway. But it also means that, as said in the video, the thing with this all is when you don't own the assets, you are essentially losing. So yeah, like to actually get somewhere in life now, you need to own people, which is fucking dystopian as hell. I think people with good morals will obviously not do that, but to be honest, these days, I don't think anybody has anything. There's nothing good about people anymore. it's very hard to fucking find, even with people who pretend they fucking help you. Just an issue in itself. What's that fucking noise? That's annoying. Get distracted again. But yeah, basically with fucked, you need to own the assets. And somehow you need to take back from the wealth. And that's basically the summary of the video, even though that wasn't directly said. That last point is very much implied. And I think that's what needs to happen. You know, people do need to do bad things to get there. Not necessarily talking about, obviously, interrupting hard-working people who do their jobs and stuff, but talking about going to the fucking source, going to the problem. And that's where it needs to stop. And I sort of predict, along with all this, when the economy starts to collapse and fuck us over, you just need to be able to defend yourself. I think that's like the most important thing in all this. Just being able to defend yourself is pretty invaluable at this point. Because people are just going to be monsters and pick on you for some reason. Then there are going to be people who will actually go further up the ladder and actually go where it hurts, so like the throat essentially. By which I mean the giants, like the fucking corporations. And yeah, I'm sort of expecting a civil war, I guess. I think that's what it is. I'm not really educated on that sort of stuff. You know, where people turn on their own country to get by, essentially, and turn their own government, basically. But I also see sort of like some revolution / overthrowing happening too, especially in the UK. That's definitely going to happen. I think people are tired of the fascism and bigotry, and then people are just going to not take it anymore. You know, they're going to try and say that, oh, it's fucking bad that you do this, it's illegal. Who fucking cares what's legal anymore? You're literally fucking killing people for no reason in a war that nobody wanted anything to do with. And we're going to be fucked over by that too. What do I even say? It's just ridiculous. So yeah, like, again, as I'm not really affected by the issues that are coming necessarily, unless it affects benefits, it's kind of difficult to get by in this sense. So it's like, what the hell do we even do? That's why I suggest people actually go for obviously the top dogs in this case, so that's why I'm going to bring it up. So these like shitheads are the fucking problem. They're the ones making us suffer. And I think the most telling thing in this is probably the chart shown in Gary's economics. It showed like the percentage of, I think it was percentage of like wealth distribution with the public, and basically showed that people don't have it anymore in any country, or most countries rather. Yeah, everything's down, China, US, probably Russia as well, I think, if I'm not mistaken. But like, everyone is affected by it, and the thing is, you've got idiots believing everything these shows are saying that it's not a wealth problem, it's not billionaires' faults. When it really fucking is. You're the ones who are going to destroy the planet, destroy your own lives, for that matter. Like, I've half a mind to think you're suicidal. And yeah, it's just fucking terrible. Just do not get it. I don't understand how this is a thing. It still makes zero sense. And again, there has to be a solution. There has to be something. Again, as I said, like civil war, revolution, something. Because it can't be this bad, really. You have to be fucking kidding me. Yeah, I definitely see things happening, you know. It's only a matter of time before people start setting up gangs and their own territories and stuff. Trust me, it's going to get a lot fucking worse. There's essentially going to be no safety, and the government won't do anything either because it's too far gone. That's what we're heading towards. So, yeah, one's on. That's essentially it. It's just fucked basically. Unless you own assets or are rich. Those are the takeaways from the video basically. Yeah, I imagine things are definitely not going to go well. So anyway, I better move on. Got stuff to do again. Stepping from that previous topic, turns out I may be right. So I can't do anything about the noise for another few days. So I get the chair, but yeah. I forgot to mention this in this exact topic, and that's essentially about owning assets. And I was right. We literally need to own things that currently corporations have hold of, and I mean stuff like TV shows, games, basically everything that you can transfer to physical media essentially needs to be owned, because as we're seeing in this economy, it's again becoming dangerous to rely on these things, and essentially one day when we have no internet or no internet access, then we'll need a way to get those things. So it does justify a physical form of media, and is not unjustified. Hence, what I've just explained. Literally, we need a way to have these in physical form if they don't do CDs or affordable ones for that matter. Rather. Simply make your own. It's so fucking annoying that we're in that situation. It reminds me of when I was looking for Pokemon Platinum recently, because I was curious how much it was worth, because I had a DS and they stopped the store on that, the 3DS rather, and it goes for too much money. So no, I am not paying that shit. Fuck that. So that's why I went with Brilliant Diamond instead, and I got a physical copy, and it was nice to have a physical copy because there are benefits to it. So it really just sucks, because that is what we're seeing here. It's just a case of just this bullshit with all the subscription services and just garbage that happens to plague us all now. We're forced into this. I really don't think there's any choice. It really does force us into these situations that be uncomfortable or illegal. That is what needs to happen. Weirdly enough, when it comes to technology as well, like we can't rely on necessarily the tech that we have because of the internet. The internet is also being unreliable, and I don't know how long we'll have it for, so things that we essentially came from the internet might have to just appear in other places, which really sucks. So basically all these memories, all this cloud stuff that we have, that's probably going to disappear at some point. It needs to be backed up in physical form, a way that doesn't require internet or maybe even technology. You know, back in the day, I remember I actually requested this once because I hadn't essentially had a digital version of these pictures, but you know, we have old family albums, and these are from photographs that are taken over the course of like many years growing up. And it's quite surprising to see, and also just reminded me of a lot of things I'd previously forgotten. That's really where things should be as well. It should be an album, and I think, well, obviously phones have the benefit of being able to take a picture anywhere at any time. We don't have a way to print it, do something, so it gets complicated. There's not really many solutions around that, which is frustrating. And I think having at least a few photos, not necessarily all of them, they don't really need to have, say, you know, pictures of your food or restaurants, unless it's like a really memorable one, but you can have pictures of what people, you can have whatever. Yeah, that's the future we're sort of heading towards now. It's where, unfortunately, we need resources to have a physical form to be more reliable. It really sucks. Yeah, I truly don't know how long we'll have technology for in this day and age, which is the extremely concerning thing. Yeah, I don't really know what to add here, but that's about it. So let's move on. So this is weird. I had a pretty bad night, as you may know, the night before, and obviously today's a new day. But I woke up in the middle of the night with a high heart rate, a stomach ache, and supposedly diarrhea. I don't know what the fuck that is about. That is unusual, and also developed back pain. Fucking back pain at the age of 29. I've had issues with my back before where it's like been twisted or something. I pulled it, maybe, but I never had something like this. It just feels very unusual. It actually sort of hurts to sit down, where it's usually most comfortable. So I don't know what the fuck is going on. I'm very weirded out by just what's happening there. It makes zero sense. So I was like, what? It's bad enough that I'm not going to be able to go out today to do my what plans I had. It really sucks. Also kind of a blessing though, to be fair, because I don't really like going out in some cases. It's worse when people just bring up really uncomfortable topics and stupid topics, and yeah. I don't know what's going on. I've woken up like several times in the night though. I woke up at like 12 o'clock and then 1 o'clock and then 2 o'clock, and being able to get to sleep each time, although I needed the toilet in 2 cases. Yeah, like, I don't know what's going on with that. And I woke up at about 7 this morning and still tired. I've gone up at 8. It's just not good. I don't really know what's going on. It really sucks. I just wanted to report on that really. It's very unusual. I don't know why it's happening. I can't really theorise even why it's happening. Just so out of place. I don't know why it could even be. I will say maybe I did eat a bit too much again, as hence like the night before, last night. But even then, it shouldn't have affected me that badly. I've overeaten before and never had this. I had a Gaviscon before going to bed because I had bad heartburn. So I had to. But yeah, I don't know. It's so weird. And I can tell the sodium content hasn't helped because I woke up with a dry mouth a few times. Anyway, that's all I've got to say, so yeah. Just felt like reporting on that. Oh god, it's come up again. That is Epidemic. I saw a weird post on Blue Sky about this, and I agree with it, but it's not the full story. Because I've actually looked into this before, and all the evidence points to a lack of communication. Also, obviously, social media doesn't help us at all. It's basically the bike meme saying like, "Oh, I think I should date women. I'm going to be a conservative douchebag," and then something else. I can't remember what the last bit was. So like punchline. How Miller's Epidemic, I think it was. Yeah, like, I don't think that's what's necessarily causing it, to be honest. It's not me blaming women entirely, it's more social media and stuff. And also unrealistic expectations, because I fell into this rabbit hole myself. It does lead you to seldom again, sort of being there myself. Yeah, shame to admit it really. That's where it sort of starts. It becomes a case of people saying dating apps, then you go to dating apps, you don't get contacted, you don't get anything at all, except on the horny apps which are like Grindr, and even then you have to be attractive enough to draw someone in. And then suddenly you've got all these dead profiles on there, where nobody is interacting, nobody's doing anything, and it just amounts to nothing. So you start to feel lonely because people have either used it and been there and done that, or again, people are fucked off because they just can't be bothered anymore. And that's why it happens. There's unrealistic expectations, and that causes the male loneliness epidemic. And the way I solved it eventually was to look past the fact that myself not being a virgin in some ways is probably not the biggest problem in my life. Is to look at things that I've got and the ways to keep me busy that actually saved my life in the end, to stop me from worrying about it. And it took priority over everything else. And that's essentially what worked for me, what stopped the issues. That's how I overcame it. There's not really much else to say on that. But yeah, I do feel like it's a bit of a strawman fallacy when I see a post like that, because it's not the full story. And yeah, there are a lot of conservative douchebags out there who don't get women, and I did find it funny actually. I was looking through a comment section on Facebook, I think it was, I haven't been there in ages. And there's a post about, I think it was something with Iran or Gaza. Or it might have been even FFXIV, but I looked into the comments and there were people like putting laugh emojis on posts who were genuinely preaching good and nice things, saying that they pray for like Gaza and stuff, and I can't remember what the topic was, so that's just a placeholder. I looked at who put the laugh emotes, because you can look at that. And literally, two of the guys on there, on these two laugh emotes, biggest fucking losers I've ever seen on this platform. First one, divorced. No shit. Like, fuck's sake. That is absolutely ridiculous. But it's funny. So yeah, essentially, I know someone got what he deserved. Just hilarious to think about. So yeah, that's just so dumb. But then you have this other guy who had a really bad fucking picture on his profile. There's just nothing going for him. Like, nothing. And it just goes to show that it is really a problem of communication more than anything else. Like, these people are obviously worse communicators, and they actually like self-expose themselves by the crappy profile, and then obviously being divorced. Like, they've literally exposed themselves through that alone. And yeah, it's just, that's what I think is causing a lot of these problems too. It's people being bitter or petty about things and taking it to the extremes. That's why we see a thing like revenge politics and just what people want to see happen in the world. It's dangerous, but I don't really know a good solution to the problems. It's like, what do we even fucking do? Like, the only thing I can say is, at least with something like this, the way I've addressed it, is to give good advice, rather than say to people, you're not interested, or you don't think they're attractive, and we should stop looking at attraction anyway. I think that's the other thing with at least the side of women that I just generally dislike, is this constant fucking need to sexualise people with enough. Like, it's worse on the male side, but they do it as well, and it doesn't help things, because they look at a man's face and say, you know what, he's sexy, I'll sleep with him. What the fuck are you doing? It's just a really bad outlook, and then that creates an unrealistic expectation for the people who possibly look more attractive. Well, I don't know, I don't really have a sense of attraction, but then it makes people insecure, and it makes them unlovable as a result. And then there's also this like anti-mental health crowd who are like other people who don't like trauma dumps, who don't like when people are emotional and even have disabilities, and then you wonder why there's a fucking epidemic to begin with. This is why. You just deny people's existence as someone who's less attractive or has a disability or mental health issue. You look at them as inconveniences rather than people. And that's how this all starts. That's how you get bigoted conservative people. You treat them like shit and then they start to turn on you. It's just inherently fucking evil. It has less to do with parenting, more to do with experience. I suppose I'm really lucky in that sense that I come out of it with at least like a few scars, mental scars, and realising that my ways are wrong, and then changing for that. Obviously favouring like peace and love instead, and also just being a free spirit in that sense. Yeah, it's going to be harder to address it for conservative people, I think. Again, being bigoted and just being douchebags. And then there's that aspect of them, again, that's corruption, and how they want everything to themselves. Like, they'll go to great lengths to it, hence voting in a fucking rapist for president. That's how it happens. At GG, I guess. There's no surprise there. Yeah, still, it just doesn't make sense. Whenever I see shit like this, like, why? Can people just fucking grow up now? It's ridiculous how this is still ongoing and stuff. You just want to see a world that's at least peaceful, not semi-peaceful. It's, yeah, currently in need of that and I'm not getting it. Anyway, I think I better move on. I've got things to do, so yeah. So, I have an interesting story. Hopefully my voice doesn't fuck up, because it sounds like it is going to. This came about because of the IGN Magnum? No, Mouse PI, that's it. Magnum PI is also a thing, but I'm talking about Mouse PI. But yeah, weirdly enough, I have not really played any boom shooters, and yet the first one I ever played, I didn't really like. And I'll explain. So, I was very curious back in the day, because I liked, Doom Eternal. I think it was Doom Eternal, maybe Doom 2016. Yeah, I was looking for games to play. I had all the Doom games bought, because I was kind of like, you know what, let's try this. Because the Doom's kind of good, the Doom series. And I tried the first ever one, and fucking hated it. And that was because you had to use your movement keys, or arrow keys, or whatever, to fucking aim and shoot. Like, what? It is such an unusual combination. I just do not understand why they decided to do that, because you have a mouse, and yeah, but you should have the choice. That's the thing with that game, you should have had the choice to use your mouse as well as like a movement. This way it's more familiar, and also people may be more used to it, especially if they have like a fancy laser mouse, or optical sensor or whatever. It's just obviously what we use now. I tried using laser mice, they don't work well. Ended up selling mine. But yeah, that's my main issue with some boom shooters, I suppose. It's just that they follow that recipe of, oh, let's restrict you to horizontal movement rather than vertical. And it just feels so unusual, given I grew up around games that had, obviously, vertical movement. I played GTA San Andreas, I played TF2, Left 4 Dead 2, Minecraft, and you have freedom of movement in that. But in the original Doom, you don't really have it. Which kind of sucks, I'm not gonna lie. I definitely made it a game that I didn't want to play in the end. So yeah, it's not really related to Mouse PI, to be fair. Because I imagine it's doing something different, but that does tie into another thing that I have like a nitpick with, and that's to do with, obviously, it being sort of like sprite art, and admittedly I'm inspired by it, but it's also kind of like, it looks a bit out of place as well. It's sort of very strange, very jarring. So I'm not exactly sure how to feel on that, because it's so unusual. Yeah, like I don't really have much else to say on this, to be honest, because yeah, boom shooters are a thing in its own way, and it's a niche for sure, so it's not always for everyone. But I guess it definitely has its niche thing, its audience that people will like it and enjoy it. I don't really take issue with that. Yeah, it's just its own thing. Yeah, I'm not sure what to say. Yeah, that's bad news. Final Fantasy is asking me to pay soon. Any money? Rip. Yeah. So yeah, I just wanted to talk about that. So this is an extremely annoying thing that's come up. It's always to do with fucking online shopping, and it's always a struggle. I don't get it, but there's never an easy way around it. So I'm trying to look for some new bags, because I think mine are starting to go, because when I go shopping in person, which somehow I'm able to do, I'm still surprised I can. It's usually just overwhelmed by sound, but that's like the worst thing. Not usually crowds anymore, because people can't afford anything. Usually not too bad, usually. It's not really that overwhelming for me, which is good. I'm probably more used to it because I have to be around crowds in school and stuff. Navigating that was kind of bad as well. But yeah, my bags are starting to go, and it's kind of obvious from how their texture is just deteriorating. There's holes at the bottom, not big holes, but I see them coming through. You see light coming through it, which is not a good sign. And the handle's possibly coming off too. So yeah, it's not good at all. So it's likely that I'm going to need to replace them, and so I decided to do a bit of digging. I want to get some shopping bags that are going to be useful for shopping. And that's what they're for. And I think that it's probably the best way to go about it to find some online rather than in person. Although there are some in person, but I don't know, they don't really appeal to me. I just wanted something that more represents myself, given they're reusable. Why not? I'm using these quite frequently, so it makes sense to essentially get something like that. And so I probably will. But this leads into an issue, because I was looking for animal-specific ones, because I want animals on them. I think it'd be a good idea for the most part. It'd be nice to have, for sure. Because, yeah, I sort of want to represent animals, to be fair. Sort of like ties into, so I guess like a like animal rights message, even though the site isn't strictly for that. The one I found anyway, that's good for the most part. Although it has issues with not listing dimensions, but I'm willing to take the risk. But yeah, I was searching for bags. I was searching for fox bags, and all that comes up is tote bags. Now, I owned a tote bag for a while. I had two of them, I believe. I think I got one from Vegan Kind and then one from somewhere else. And they sucked. I don't get the point of them. I know you're supposed to have them around the shoulder, but I don't use it around my shoulder. It's really inefficient to do that. So I don't want a fucking tote bag. So when I was using it, it was like dragging across the floor. At which point it's like, what's the point? So yeah, I never used it again. It's like fucking useless. There's no point. They're not good for shopping, and they don't even fit much in them. So no, I'm not using a bloody tote bag. So imagine the annoyance when pretty much every single fucking result is a tote bag. Just for one fox image, for a shopping bag, which is in the search. But it's not a fucking shopping bag, is it? And then all the results in other sites are useless as well. Speaking of Amazon, I think AliExpress came up and even Etsy. Like, all pretty much useless, and there's also no guarantee that they weren't AI. So the ones that are like nice possibly are AI. But it's not worth it even then. You know, it just fucking sucks. just looks so like out of place and stuff, and just don't want that. So there's also that issue with tote bags not only sucking, but the fact that this is a bloody like possibly AI art. So I don't want it. So I guess I'm now looking for more reliable search options, and it only took me a while to discover because I looked up the types of bags because I was confused. Like, is tote bag the only thing that exists then? That seems to be what the internet says. Turns out no, but you can't even find these other bags, so that didn't help. And I found one on Amazon that actually led me down a sort of rabbit hole, weirdly enough. It's called a jute bag. I don't really know what a jute bag is or what is a jute bag. So, create a fucking article. I don't want this. Jute bag is made from jute or something else, fibre. And for its strength, durability, and eco-friendliness, nice. Jute bags can use for shopping bags and gift bags, okay. Yeah, that's annoying actually, because it's not so useful. But, you know, I just want a shopping bag. Like, grocery bag, I guess, is probably the term. Like, grocery bags, folks. Let's look that up. Tote bag comes up again. Are you fucking kidding me? These aren't fucking grocery bags. Fucking dumbasses. Like, the good thing about DuckDuckGo is you can block search results, but I can't block things for bloody Amazon and stuff. And what about Etsy? Like, tote bags again. Like, these aren't the fucking only bags that exist, you idiots. Why is this even a thing? I fucking hate this trend. It's just so bad. It's genuinely awful. What's Pinto? I didn't even know there was a site like this. Okay, less of them. It's good, but not what I want though. They look terrible. They're also not very neat. That's the thing with these bags. They've not got that texture to it that would make them neat. That's also the problem with my current ones. So it's like if you put say a 12 pack of Coca-Cola or something in there, or 8 pack. It's usually 8 pack, isn't it? Yeah. It's not going to fit because it's like a weird shape. So that doesn't fucking help. It's just really stupid. So yeah, that annoys me a lot. But then you also have to contend with the fact that you're possibly getting things with not the right size. You just want things with the correct size here to fit as much as you can in. So say I'm getting a bunch of vegan milks. Like, okay, it might fill one of these bags, but that's the problem. Say I'm getting 8. That would fill it right up, or even 10. So that becomes an issue. Because now there's no room for everything else. And I'm not putting things in like one bag only, to be fair. But put them in multiple bags. You also have to distribute the weight evenly, so I usually do like a half and half. I do half heavy, half light, so it balances out. And then in each hand I have obviously these bags sort of carried like that. I've listed a ton of heavy things before. I've had bags with like cans and obviously milk and obviously a lot of heavier stuff. I forgot what that heavier stuff is. I can't remember. Probably like bolts of Fentimans and other things. Yeah, I fucking hate finding bags, it seems. It's just terrible. It's such an awful experience. It's just miserable. Because it literally just doesn't help. These search results just make it so bad. So yeah, I just don't enjoy it at all. And even then, the ones I found aren't perfect. There's found it on CJ Wildlife. They don't even list the dimensions for some of them for some reason. Which is also worrying because you kind of need to know. It looks like a nice bit of shop though, so I think it's better than the alternative, which is like an express. But there we go. Also, they do other things as well. I actually need to look. They mainly sell bird food, but I'm curious about what else they do. Mainly birds, from what I could see. Also, National Trust. I think. I'm trying to look rather. Binoculars, cameras, observation hides, books and ID charts. Not like at books actually. Planting, wildlife. Yeah, wildlife could be interesting if there is something there. Maybe not actually. So I don't know. But yeah, that's what I mean. Just there's not really many choices here. If I just search bag, what comes up even? Bags of food, yeah, tote bags, oh god. Yankees. But they're not even labelled tote bags. Like, hang on, it's like deer bag, but it's not labelled as such. That definitely is a tote bag. You can tell by the fucking handle. Ugh, that's what I mean. It's like mega cringe as well. It's just fuck off. Really do not need this crap. So yeah, just really needed to rant about this. I'm just tired of that crap. It just annoys me. I just want to get from A to B, and instead it's putting me through like everything else I see, D, whatever the fuck else, whatever letters exist. It just gets extremely annoying. So yeah. Anyway, I'll move on. So, another conversation that needs to be had, which is really fucking annoying. I posted some blue sky and hopefully it will get attention. I'm not 100% sure it will. But yeah, I posted about what the fuck is going on with this game. It's like making me lose my bait for some reason. I don't know what's going on. I can't. It might be an internet issue. I don't know how though. It's something really weird going on with this game. Also might be a DDoS, because I saw someone having trouble with that. Anyway, I have to talk about autistic burnout. Because one of the things I noticed with this is that it still just occurs in my daily life. I thought I was over it for a while, and then it just comes back, which is really fucking annoying. So I don't really understand where it comes from exactly. It just annoys me. Gives me constant issues, like just being burnt out for everything. Anything I do, music, cooking, anything. And just being around people. Which ironically people say it's like an antidote, but it's not. Fucking false. And yeah, it just feels very alarming, really. Just to be in this situation. Because once again it's happening and I'm feeling the brunt of it all. I'm really suffering as a result. And one of the bigger problems here is that you can't actually treat it. Because people will say, oh, you should see a doctor about it, you should see a professional about it. But it turns out they don't know how to address it. So what do I do then? Like, what the fuck are you on about? Saying that you can solve this problem? Because you currently can't. It's as far as I'm aware. So it just doesn't make sense. That does annoy me. It frustrates me because I really don't think there is a solution. And I haven't found one yet. Given that it's sort of easier to find solutions to my own problems, and it's really enough an ability I have. But it isn't easy because I can't find it. It doesn't exist. I've looked it up. I've asked for advice. I can't find anything. At most, the only thing that helps is energy management, but that's like such a small thing and also quite detrimental in the context and grand scheme of things. Because I also have to contend with just having to do my daily routine, my hobbies, my interests. So it just doesn't help. So I'm not really struggling as a result. And I get behind on things because of this. Like, for example, yesterday I was burnout because I was ill, I couldn't go out. And I also went into a strange fucking heat as well, you know. Guy things. Don't know what it is, but it happens. And I got distracted for hours, and so I couldn't do my tasks. It took me, what, how long? Like 5 fucking hours to do my music? When it should take 1 hour of consistent time. Without interruptions, obviously, but there are interruptions now because of just Final Fantasy XIV requiring my time. And it gets real complicated and it's not easy to address. People assume they know what they're talking about when it comes to autism and even neurodivergent topics. They don't. There is no solution to this. And if I had to guess, like to theorise what a potential solution is, I don't know, sleeping pills, weed, anything that can sort of relax you. But I'd argue that might also worsen things too. Because now you get frustrated with the things you can't do, because things you usually do cannot be done under these effects. So you can't work under the obviously effect of drugs or weed or whatever. But now you can't also do hobbies or anything. You can't even pay attention. So now life is more miserable. And same with sleeping pills, it makes you drowsy, makes you really tired, and obviously you don't take it during the day, but you take it the night before. It doesn't help. And the other thing with autistic burnout is it has severe consequences. It really affects your system, and I think it's affected me physically as well. I put on weight and also had more issues with my what's it called? Ulcerative colitis, Crohn's disease. Yeah, it's not easy to address at all, by any means. And again, the only solution, ironically, is prevention. Like, that seems to be a lot of things nowadays. It's weird enough similar to how many of the other mental issues that we have in society are not easily addressable with medication because one, pharmacies are hard to trust, and two, well, the medication is hard to trust. But more importantly, and this is the third thing, it's probably easier to prevent these problems from happening to begin with. And yeah, it's not being done. So that's where we're at with this. It's injustice with injustice, I guess. Yeah, it fucking sucks. Yeah, prevention is literally the only option. And when it comes to autism, people need to understand the social complications, the sensory complications, and even like the mindset, because the mindset also plays a role. You get hyperfixated, you get stuck in a loop. There's many ways that it can affect you. Even meltdowns and shutdowns can impact you quite massively, obviously with autism. They do cause issues. So it's important to note that sort of stuff. But otherwise it's not really easy to address at all. It causes too many problems. And burnout lasts for quite a while, from what I'm aware and what I've experienced too. And it's different in every person too. There's no doubt going to be some differences here and there that you might find burnout people who are more cheerful and chipper, whatever, or even just like me, where you have good days and bad days throughout the burnout. It's one of the weird things that happens, and yeah. But it's not widely discussed, which is why it becomes an issue. That's why you end up seeing these fucking weirdos online sometimes. I don't know if it's that Reddit mod guy who was on the Reddit mod was anything to have autism, it seemed like there was maybe a touch of it, but I don't know. To me, that seemed like either a meltdown or just some weird fucking hyperfixation. Somehow reminded me a bit of my housemate M. Because he wasn't the same, he wasn't like too shouty about things. I think he could if he wanted to. But he had that sort of behaviour to him, sort of similar in a way, not really kicking down doors, luckily again. Not nearly as bad, but I see similarities, and that's saying something. Yeah. I also apparently need to go to the toilet now. And whilst the spectrum was happening in Final Fantasy, which is fucking great. So yeah, let's move on. Well, I'm quite paranoid about mold and things going off and stuff, and I don't really expect it to happen to things that are cupboard related, but I have seen it happen before. This is essentially something really stupid that someone I know used to do, and rather than store it in a quote cool dry place, they stored it outside, where it then got mouldy, because it's not a cool dry place, it's a warm place. Condensation affects it, and so that's wasted naan bread and stuff. And it's even crazier when you consider that even those with lots of preservatives are not even necessarily immune to this. So you've got this issue where it can actually trigger a mold sort of reaction, even in good conditions, and maybe like less than ideal, but you know, it shouldn't be happening. And then today I had a shock of my life because I found that there was a lot of Celine products. For anyone unaware, the Celine is like the brand that did malt bread. They do a really nice sticky toffee one, which I recommend. But I tried these Lift bars that they have, and they've been okay for the most part. And I tried all three flavours: apple, cinnamon, raspberry, vanilla, and blueberry muffin. And I got a blueberry muffin out today to try with my overnight oats, because that's what I do with these sort of things as well. Sort of combine them together and make a proper like breakfast out of it, so I can actually tolerate it. And then the weirdest thing I noticed on this, out of the blue marks and the red marks, obviously the blueberries sticking out, the blueberry things, whatever, I saw a green one. A fucking green mark. I was thinking, what? That doesn't seem normal for a muffin, a blueberry muffin thing. And even with like the coloration of the thing itself, it didn't seem normal at all. So I decided to dissect it a bit, and I did a poor job of it, but eventually I found white mould inside. Yeah, somehow white mould inside the fucking bar. Not all throughout it, but just on the top where I found it initially. I found this green mark. I couldn't smell anything off of it, but I could tell it wasn't right. It shouldn't be having that white stuff in it, because the other bars didn't have that. That's for sure, I've eaten them before. And so I replaced it with a new one. There's nothing on it. So, what the fuck? There's mould on these bars now? I don't know how that even happened. It's likely something related to how someone else packaged my groceries, because I do them very specifically. I don't put cold and frozen with, obviously, the cupboard stuff. I think that's dangerous and stupid. And I had a cool bag as well, which is really weird. But I think some of the cold stuff got mixed in and maybe affected the bars, which is my theory for this. I suppose the only other thing is maybe where it's touched something else. So maybe there's like a slight moisture, but even then it's like, it's 8 days away from it's gone off date, or is it? Hang on, am I getting them confused? Two of them were May and one of them was the end of April. But it was only like a few days off the gone off date, supposedly. So it just doesn't seem normal. I'm quite weirded out by the fact, and that also just increases my anxiety. Because it's the sort of shit that I worry about. I don't really want to be worrying about it. By the way, very weird, but always check your food. Like, fucking hell. Imagine if I'd eaten that. I did have a weird reaction actually the other day after the madras, and I didn't eat anything after. I didn't eat the lift bars, but it tasted something weird in my cereal today. Like something weird with the side of the, not cereal, overnight oats. But something weird around the side. I don't know what it was. It didn't taste right at all. So I don't know what the fuck is going on. There's either something wrong with the moisture in my room, or I don't know. Either way, I feel like mentioning this because again, it's a good reminder. There's that thing, that campaign that doesn't exactly work. In my opinion, it's a bit useless. But I'd rather not risk food that's gone off. I've always had that sort of philosophy, and my rule for like eating it is like 2 days. Because you know, with the moisture in that, it's probably too long gone after the third day. There's no risk, no point risking that. Especially like food poisoning and stuff. I don't really heat my food up much now because it's spring. Could have done with this actually. I don't know. But yeah, it's just another topic really. Another thing to bring up. Also, my mic's not working. It's the other one, so better fix that and move on. Yeah, another really stupid comment. Well, more like it came from a video, but I haven't seen the entire thing. I don't really want to. I've seen clips of it. But there's another like 20 people versus one vegan video, which is always a thing. For some reason they do that quite frequently. And I'm not really here to comment on whether these videos are any sort of, I don't know, whether they're valid or whatever. I'm here to comment on what people say about these things, because they think that in numbers there might be enough people to prove someone wrong, like as these Jubilee videos somewhat do. And they could even be other things, like I can't remember what the one I saw was years ago. I was watching the Koji live streams, Koji's Revenge on Twitch, and just watching some of these videos of the Jubilee channel, and yeah, some of them are interesting, but others just not so much. But what really annoys me about these sometimes is literally just clickbait in a way that isn't misleading. I think people confuse those. It's either clickbait or misleading thumbnails, and this is literally clickbait. It's like one Epstein defender versus like 20 anti-Trump people. You can literally do something like that. They won't get that political, but again, that's all the level of clickbait we're looking at. And yeah, it's like people try to find these excuses for, again, hating on the side that they disagree with, which yeah, you can with Epstein, obviously, we all do. But with a topic like veganism or animal rights, it is extremely hard to refute. It's so hard that I can't even do it. It doesn't work, especially doesn't work that day, that way, rather. Yeah, like, this comment though from okay, it's funny. I just saw a video of a dog taking shit on the Donald Trump store in Hollywood. It's genius. Brilliant. Good dog. Yeah, what was I? Yeah, the Jubilee video, the one vegan. Yeah, the guy's argument, probably a troll, as people have stated before, said that his argument against veganism is burgers. Let's take it seriously for a second. Again, what if? But I have had many fucking burgers in my time. In fact, they're the most common food I eat, weirdly enough. And that's really saying something. Probably one of my favourite forms of food, I'd say, or types of food. Because they're just easy to cook, and they're also nice. Well, it depends on what you get. And before I was vegan, that was also what I had lots. I even had cheap burgers from the shops, and they're okay. So they're amazing. There's actually a cafe once that I went to, did one of the best tasting burgers I've ever had. I wish I knew what they used because that tasted genuinely good, but I think it's something to do with the grease in the end. I didn't know what it was. But I was like looking for all these sort of local beef burger things, or not necessarily local, but just it's specific things. I don't know how to explain it, but basically really tasty. I've tried many over the years. I've tried obviously the McDonald's ones, like the beef burger, the fish burger. I think I tried once. Chicken burger, obviously, that's probably one of their best in my opinion. But obviously not vegan anymore. Well, it's not vegan anyway. What the fuck am I on about? Yeah. But I've tried many different burgers. I've even been to restaurants, been to Weatherspoons, I've been to so many different places, even like a American like diner I think I've been to once. Obviously not in America, but just wherever I am, wherever it is, like local. It goes to show that there's just so much bullshit with what people say and do here. Because they think that you really haven't tried meat, and there's a lot of like misconception that a lot of people who go vegan or just cut out animal products, myself also cutting out animal products, they assume that we've never had animal products. It's just a really strong, misleading claim, because that's not what's going on here. In fact, most people who have obviously turned to this side, turned to cutting out animal products, have often seen the issues around it and will want to avoid animal products because of it. That's my sort of realisation and understanding of it. So it doesn't make sense when this is used as an argument. Like, what the fuck? Are you kidding me? It's just really bad. So yeah, it just leads to tons of bullshit, as you can imagine. And it's such a tiring sort of question to answer. Like, have you tried this? Have you tasted bacon before? Yes, I fucking have. I've tried a lot of it and eaten a lot of it in my years. And it just doesn't do it for me either. It's like, it's not really a taste thing. I don't mind the taste of these things. It's not disgusting. But they're not as good as people make them out to be. And I say this having gone from originally plant-based, like, actually like 10 years ago now, to straight meat eater again. Going to warm turkey rather. And yeah, even then meat didn't taste that great. And it made me ill at some point. I thought, fuck this, I'm not risking it. So obviously became vegetarian at that point. And then obviously I cut out everything in 2020, I believe it was. I felt better for it. Yeah, it's just a good thing overall. And yeah, but as I said, I've tried many different things. I've tried burgers, I've tried tons of different fucking animal products in my time. I tried crab, I tried squid, I've tried seaweed. Seaweed is technically vegan, but they put fish stuff on it for some reason. Oh, it's not really vegan actually. I don't think about that. Sometimes they deep fry it and something. Obviously the deep fries of animal products, so I could be wrong on that. But I've tried tons of things. To think that I've not tried any animal products, and I've never even denied that I've been open to animal products. I've been open to every single fucking option, including cats and dogs. And yeah, I've had people say, oh, what the fuck's wrong with you? If you try them, would you try shark? Would you try dolphin? And it's like, yeah, of course I would. Kill these people? What? No, these animals. What do I get them mixed up? They kill these animals to eat them, supposedly. And yeah, why are people taking issue with that? And I definitely brought that up when obviously people were talking about that with me. They were just confused, like, what do you mean? It's wrong to eat a dog, it's wrong to eat shark. And I was just asking why. Because it's no different, these are both things that are killed for a purpose, and obviously to feed or to give you like taste pleasure. just doesn't make sense. Like, people have such a bad reaction to it. It's so fucking nonsensical. Again, I just do not understand it. And again, there's that assumption that, again, I don't apparently know what animal products taste like, when I obviously do. I've had animal products accidentally over the years. I've had mozzarella by accident because of a local place that served me the wrong thing, and it didn't taste good. It tasted fucking awful. I wish I had the vegan cheese on there. If it was nice, I would have said that. Oh, okay, yeah, that's what mozzarella was, but oh well, I don't want that. It's just like a complete fucking accident having that. And I've even had milk before and stuff, and again, it's not special. I don't find the appeal in animal products. It really shows that, at least for my preferences, there is no such thing as convincing me through taste. No such thing as convincing me through taste pleasure. It just doesn't work. Also, I don't know how I'm doing it, but I'm triple tasking. That's weird. I'm browsing Reddit, doing this shit. Yeah, that's weird. Oh, wrong thing there. What happened there? Oh. Yeah, like, it's such bullshit and nonsense. This is the sort of stuff we have to put up with a ton of the time, and it gets tiring, but also it's like, okay, I can answer this better each time as well. Because every time I've got a different story, because I've been there and done that. I could tell you a lot of things about animal products. I could tell you how I swallowed a bone once in KFC with KFC drumsticks, which led me to not getting the drumsticks anymore, ever. And then I went to boneless chicken. I've choked on bacon before. Yes, you can, with the fat and stuff all stuck there. It's horrible. Probably one of the worst choking experiences I've ever had. I was a kid back then. I'm trying to think like what else I've had. So I've had steaks that are too chewy, lamb that's too chewy as well. I even have good experiences as well. Like, my nan used to do a good lamb curry, and it was made using a secret ingredient. Well, not so much secret when I discovered it years later. Turns out it was garlic pickle. And that really transforms the dish. Honestly, I recommend that stuff. It's great. Great for a bland curry. It really fixes it. And I use that whenever I cook. I don't have any at the moment, but I will get some at some point. And also I've been to restaurants with some great food. I've had good food from people before. I've actually had chef's food once, like straight from the source, because we had a friend who had a chef dad. So yeah, you can sort of imagine that. But I've been there. I've done it. I've had it. I've even had great desserts as well. That should go without saying. Great ice cream, great stuff. I miss Angel Delight. I think that's one of my most favourite desserts, and also the one I miss most. And that's up there with other things like what's another dessert I used to have that I really liked? I can't think. Not cheesecake. Oh, yeah, trifles. There's barely any trifles out there. Vegan trifles. Trifling. Yeah, I've only had one that's like the Plant Revolution. Well, I don't know if they still sell it. They probably don't, because they keep doing that. They keep putting it up sometimes and then removing it like, weeks later. But I've only had it once and it was nice. It was actually really good. It tasted like a trifle. But yeah, before that I used to have like chocolate heaven or gatto thing, and so many different types of trifles. Whenever the opportunity arose, so I didn't have it all the time. But yeah, I don't really have anything else to say here, really. Again, people say that we don't know what animal products taste like, but I very much do. Yeah, it's fucking nuts. Yeah, I suppose one of my favourite meats used to be like doner kebab. It's probably the only one that I really liked, and also like chargrilled chicken's decent. One that I'd choose as well, but nowadays there's not really much choice. Obviously, having to eliminate them, but that's why we mimic it. It's because we miss the flavour, but we hate the method to get them. which is why we do that. And I often have to come back to this because there's apparently going to be a big Joey Carbstrong expose, or exposure, whatever you call it, on this really horrific situation. Apparently it's coming up soon. But people say to that, it's just a random occasion, you just found them at the wrong time. This doesn't happen in every place, every slaughterhouse or farm. When the reality is completely different, because there's a risk to these things. They may not go through the same treatment, they're in the same conditions, but they most definitely are at risk of it. And that's what I often come back to when people bring up the welfare aspects. This all starts with exploitation. When someone sees a vulnerability in an animal that's somewhat less than them, somehow, then they start to exploit it. It's like a very sickening aspect. It's actually on the same page zoophiles are and stuff. Even paedophiles, so let's bring them up as well. It's the same thing, and that's what people support. And yeah, it is like pretty much so many horrific things going on. Again, it's in standard practices. It's something you can actually look up as well. They often list it out. There's often stuff about that, like free-range hens only get a short amount of space. See, dairy cows are separated from their children, and the children sometimes get put down if they're a male. Yeah, there's so many fucking bad things. But this is again why I don't consume animal products. There's way too many bad things going on over there, when in front of me is the thing that's the result of that. And I'm thinking, this is disgusting. I've felt that, having the things I've had accidentally. I've had meat accidentally before. I've had, as I said, like mozzarella and milk before, and I think about those situations. It's not really to do with trauma necessarily, it's to do with what's fundamentally there, what's being written down. That's the difference here. I do avoid animal products because they are just inherently wrong. And no matter how much arguing I've done over the years and debating about this, even trying to refute it myself, and even potentially putting a bounty on it of a sizable amount of money, where over time I increase it, it still has not been enough to convince me. And I'm just struggling to find any justification. I don't care about like the social pressure or anything. That's become a non-issue at this point. It just doesn't bother me at this stage. For sure, I want to even know a reason if there is one. I want to be convinced, and I've set the goalposts already. I've said that the goalpost is literally to prove that there's no stream of consciousness in animals. And someone is yet to prove that. Like, I've never seen it. It just doesn't exist. So this argument doesn't actually exist. And yet people insist that they're completely correct on what they believe. And then I'm thinking, you haven't thought about it. You just did it as an off comment. You've done this as a cheap get out of jail free card, essentially. You're not actually thinking. Yeah, that's, I think, why we've even seen this comment, hence why I'm talking about this. Dear God. Anyway, yeah, let's move on from this. So this is a discussion that I think needs to be had, and it's kind of interesting. Again, although I don't know if I've actually talked about this before. I'm surprised if I haven't, or maybe even mentioned it. It's about basically Hetslop as a term, probably has an idea. Yeah, in queer spaces, specifically LGBTQ+, as is queer space essentially, there is a problem with the amount of straight couples and ships there are, and the opinion piece on this, I guess, so I could actually tangent into that, is that there's too many straight couples, and I would pretty much agree. Well, for too long we've seen this. It does genuinely feel like there are too many straight couples in shows as it is, and it feels uniquely special when there is actually a queer couple or gay couple or whoever in the show. That's why I had such a positive reaction to the Owl House, because it was like not only a gay couple but also one that's quite relatable. I'm not lesbian, or am I? But for people who grew up knowing that they're lesbian or gay, they could have done with this show, because it would have given such relief and joy as well. Because, you know, the entire thing around Luz and Amity and stuff, you got that sense that they were made for each other. In the end, it didn't seem like they were at first, obviously, if you've seen that. But it was really special, and there is no show like that out there that's doing this, essentially. And it felt so good to see. It's so refreshing as well to see characters of their age, I think teenagers, actually being able to express their romantic interest. That's not really sexuality, obviously, because you don't see that and it's not up to you. But, you know, it's special. And for that reason, it became really unique and really held a special place in my heart. There's nothing else like this. Like, it's so difficult to find anything like it. That's why I essentially highlighted it as a show that's worth watching. Because it is just refreshing, and then you have a non-binary character, I forgot their name, but they existed, and yeah, non-binary character was quite interesting. And yeah, Luz technically is bi, but Amity is lesbian. So you always had that interesting aspect to it. And when we talk about straight slop, we're really talking about how shows have just become very overburdened by the amount of, again, straight couples there are. And for some reason, also LGBTQ Plus was asking about an opinion on this, because someone was saying that there is too much straight slop, which I kind of agree that there is. And there is also the type of community that condemns them for saying this, and also then condemns people for saying straight slop, and it's kind of like, yeah, well, they're not wrong though. That's the weird thing. Because I'm usually quite unbiased when it comes to these things, and I realise that straight slop is a real problem. It's not something that's just been made up, or it's just become a term randomly. It legitimately exists, and that's why it's an issue. We wouldn't even be talking about it if it weren't an issue. Because the way it currently stands, there are way too many straight couples. It's just obvious enough as is. And we're not asking every character to turn gay, or suddenly, like, I don't know, Sanji in One Piece becomes gay. Well, he might be. No, his relationship with Zoro, but anyway. It's literally, it's so dumb that we even have this discussion, because when people ask for diversity and wish that it was in it, rather than ask it, usually wish, you literally wish it was diverse, and that was in the way that it represents people and obviously brings comfort. That's why it's so important. This is why it matters. It's exactly why it matters in the end. I can't stress it enough. And you really need that to get you by, because there's no world where, well, I don't know how to explain it actually. It's just impossible to live in a world where, you know, having just straight couples is going to bring comfort. It's not. That's a sad reality. And it's like, yeah. And even then, as someone who is pansexual, I'm even writing straight couples into my series, and there is a reason why. It's because I don't want people to be just disinterested. I have surprises. I have a few things up my sleeve for that. And yeah, that means that there is going to be something special. There's going to be quite a big reveal. And it's not going to be in vain, from what I understand anyway. And it's going to be interesting. But like, what do I even say? Yeah, but my opinion is just personal, I guess. I think the people criticising straight couples are definitely coming from a valid position, as long as it's on the basis of not, obviously, het phobia, as I call it, but on the basis of just a legitimate criticism. That's where it's really most important, and it does matter. But that's the only valid opinion, to have it as a criticism. And I suppose the other thing is that it just needs to be more based around having better queer representation as well, because let's be honest rather. It's a funny joke I heard years ago in the Oscars. The representation of any sort of person in LGBTQ plus has been widely misrepresented. And that is a problem in itself, because that means there is some things wrong here, because representation isn't as good as it could be and should be. It leads to more problems, and that's why we're here. That's why it just doesn't work, it doesn't help anything. What was I even at? It's kind of the thing, I don't really know what to say other than that. Yeah, I won't condemn people for saying, again, Hetslop isn't really a thing, but at the same time, it doesn't change how the series is. Like, for example, again, Pokemon anime, Brock is amazing, Bonnie kind of amazing as well, because she's like very cleverly, she's presenting her brother and basically trying to get anyone to date her brother, and it's quite funny. But yeah, that's what's so different about this. It's like you've got a well-designed sort of romantic interest there, with obviously Brock and then Clement, essentially. And you got something like, I don't know, trying to think of really uncreative, like cis couple. It's really hard to pick actually, because there are a few, but nothing comes to mind at the moment for some reason. It's mind blank. But it does exist, and that's sort of the issue. Yeah, it just becomes increasingly frustrating, to be honest. That's why I even bring this up, to be honest. Yeah, that's all I got to say, so let's move on. So this is a topic that actually I do need to talk about, as a Final Fantasy XIV player myself. This game has a design problem. It really does. It's actually fucking insane how bad it is. I mean that, it's so fucking bad. It has so many aspects to it which just make me scratch my head and die. Because it's just so fucking confusing. It never makes sense. I'm talking about aspects of the game where... I also need to make a stream there, that's going to distract me. Aspects of the game which are not thought out well, so like going through the triple try and stuff, I realised so many issues. The rule sets are sometimes confusing, plus makes no sense. Reverse is too difficult to counter, and the roulette doesn't really work because it's too RNG. While you can get like ascension and descension, which is quite simple and straightforward, quite easy to counter to, you just get really bad ones. And then you've also got the aspect where if you fuck up once, you can be screwed, especially with a thing like plus. Plus is a stupid rule. It's extremely stupid. I've never seen a rule this bad in gaming, period. I've seen bad card game rules and stuff, but not this bad. And the amount of bullshit I've had with that is just absolutely nuts. But really where it becomes a real problem is that you can't forfeit. You're forced to play out the round even though you know you've fucking lost. which I don't really understand from a design perspective. It just seems really fucking stupid. Like, that isn't how you design a game. Like, you're forcing players into a situation they don't want to be in, and then what? Like, you expect them to be happy with it? It's just nuts. And then I've also looked at other aspects of the game and realised the same thing. Same issues, and it repeats itself. Like ocean fishing, for example, you can find, well, it's not even just ocean fishing, it's just fishing in general. But using, like, getting the 3 things above your head, the 3 marks, or semicolons, means that you have a chance to get it. Because it doesn't matter what you use, it still fails, no matter what you use. And I don't really understand why that happens, to be honest, because it's a bit stupid. It would have made more sense if maybe there was like a third sort of hook set to deal with that, but no, there isn't, so you're all fucked, to put it simply. But it gets worse because every time I go into ocean fishing, it's like there's more issues. Getting intuition is nearly impossible now on a daily basis. I used to be able to get it, but now not so much. This has been the past like week or so. I've only been able to get 777, which is stupid. How am I not able to get them? And also, you can't stack DC with stuff, which would be handy here, but I'm having to sell it because it's faster that way. And then I don't know what to get on my purple scripts either, because there's nothing there. You can't get like a mount token for like 4,000, which would make complete sense, by the way, because that would be doable, and that would be a good way to farm things. So, hello? Like, the fuck are you doing? As a moron? It's just so ridiculous. And then I just keep looking at other aspects of the game, like some of the job design, some of the like raid designs and stuff, and think, what the hell are you doing? Because it doesn't feel like the game has been properly tested, and it isn't really new player proof. As in, you know, new players could play it. I mean, it's a new player safe rather. It's the correct term there. So it just becomes problematic in a way that you struggle to enjoy the game. So right now I'm going through Triple Triad stuff, not for any specific reason actually. It's more just for fun, but even then I'm not finding it that fun. It's kind of hellish. And yeah, it's mainly to do with the unfair card matches, because NPCs are powerful as fuck. But you can't even get a deck that's even suitable for them. It turns out using a recommended deck can mean the worst thing for you. Say you've got Ascension, recommended deck. No fucking societies, nothing. There's nothing there to link it, so you're gonna lose. So it doesn't work. As you can see the problem. And then I'm trying to think what the other thing was. Like, the rule sets are just problematic in general. I did a few like open tournaments here and there just for the reward, and also to get the challenges, week challenges. Still worth it though. But I just hate them. The bots are too difficult. There's too many problems around it. And yeah, with a game with this many things, there's bound to be issues, and I admit that. I had a meltdown when I thought I was going to fucking quit in the end, but so I managed to reel myself back, because I was thinking like, why have I even stuck around for this long with this shit in here? And I realised, oh, it's actually the combat and the jobs and stuff and the content and the glamour. That's pretty much what keeps me drawn here. And sometimes the mounts, but it depends on how you get them, really. Not always that interested, but can be. Yeah, it's so fucking problematic. It's ridiculous how many game design choices here just get up really bad. There's even been that post on FFXIV, which I actually haven't understood. I don't know what the point of it is, but they've done something to crafting where you can no longer, I think, exit the window when you're changing jobs, which is weird. Or was it that you can change jobs by selecting the right thing, so you like all the crafters at once, which would make sense. Like, why don't they do that? If I have a carpenter selected and I'm a weaver, why the fuck can't I do that? Genuinely. It makes 0 sense. So you can see the issue there. There are so many things like this in the game, which just make me scratch my head. I just cannot understand it, seriously. It's so fucking bad. And I don't really know an easy way around this issue. But it does contribute to my burnout, because I'm thinking all the time, I am not having a good time with this. I don't even want to do the triple try matches. If it was just a few for a guaranteed reward, by all means I'll do it. I'll fucking love it. But the way it currently stands, no. It's nearly impossible. It's fucking unbearable. And look at this, my inventory, if you look at it. There's Autistic out, 4 Titan cards, 2 Demon Whale cards, 4 Geralt cards, 1 Tombow card, 1 Memory card, 1 Alphino Analysis, and 1 Armagy card. Armager. Like, what the fuck? Why are there so many duplicates? This makes 0 sense. Like, why not be able to play for the card to begin with? It makes no sense at all. It's not like this is a trading card game. And then another stupid thing, you have to pay a match fee. A fucking match fee when everything else you interact with in the Gold Saucer requires none of it. Almost none of it. The minigames do. But I do not get it. It genuinely feels like the designer, probably UGP, I don't know, it's just anti-fun. And anti-like, I don't know what to call it, like anti-casual. It really does feel like that a lot of the time, not sometimes, all the time. And that's also sort of the Ian has a coasters scenario we had, like, how many years ago? 9 years ago, I'm looking at the date, trying to remember. When did Shadowlands even release? But it's the same scenario. You have someone who's obsessed with another game, probably, and I don't know if Yoshi is, or whoever, I forget the names. I don't know if he's obsessed with a certain game at the moment, but it's no doubt going to be inspired by it. And that's the problem we have. Where Ian wants to go the Path of Exile route, which is a shit game, by the way. He wanted WoW to go the same way. It's like, why? This isn't fucking Path of Exile, you fucking idiot. What are you doing? Go away. I'd probably hate Path of Exile if I tried it. And then there's probably going to be some point where they'll decide that they want a hack and slash mode for this game, somehow, some miracle, and they'll play Dark Souls to get the idea of what it's supposed to be like, and then suddenly players can't do it, and then can't cope, and then they get toxic, and it'll be a mess. This is what happens when if you block off players from giving you feedback, valid feedback for the matter, you get a situation where nobody likes your game, and then just get toxic about everything, like I am. It's no doubt it is toxicity. But I'm just tired of the crap that I've been given here. For all the gratefulness I can have for being able to play games in this day and age and this situation as well, no doubt, it's not as good as it seems, because the games have to be good themselves in order to justify it, to keep me interested. And the other thing that keeps me tied to this game, which is unfortunate but also fortunate, is the prospect of another day, another patch, another thing to look forward to. The same way that Deep Rock Classic is, the same way at the moment Rocksmith can. With CDLCs and stuff, and I can learn that guitar. This is exactly what I mean. It's got elements where you have to play it for some reason, which I don't like exactly. But then you've got so many different things in the game you shouldn't have to. it makes no sense. This is why I dislike the triple triad system. This is why I dislike the RNG in raids with the loot, at least, not the mechanics. The mechanics I think I could tolerate, but it doesn't need an accessible version. It needs alternatives. I just scratch my head over a lot of these design choices. It's like you actively discriminate against players because you do this shit. You do it to annoy people and keep them engaged, which is not a way to go about it. It's what killed World of Warcraft. Because it had so many reputations and currencies to keep track of. I'm not sure if people remember. And then you had to care about the in-game and the RNG you got from that. No guarantee you get anything good. It's just a mess. Then you have to wipe all over again in every single bit of content, like the raids and whatever it is, like dungeons even. I think you can wipe on at least mythics, I remember. At Mythic Plus specifically. But that just ties into that, oh, you need to play sort of aspect, so you're wasting your time. It's not a case of like wiping once and then like being done with it. It's like too many wipes are happening. And then you get new players and they don't know what they're doing. And then it's a repeat of the fucking thing that just happened. This is again the problem with this design philosophy. I might as well just call it an Ianism, because there's no fucking other term for it. It's just nonsense based on what you think a game should be rather than what the player wants it to be. It's just fucking bad. And again, if you want it to be a certain way, make a secondary option. Where, I don't know, there's probably a focus on Savage Raids being the best content in the game, quote unquote, or the content that Yoshi wants to actually make good for himself, then do that, but give us an alternative. I don't want to play that. We have a different design philosophy on these things, so I have no clue what to do in that, and I don't want to engage in it. This is why I don't even touch extremes or savages at the moment, because that shit is not worth the, I think it's a keystone, I can't remember what it's called actually. You know, the final mount. But it's not worth that. Not worth getting all 7/8. There's no way. Fuck that. It's not worth my time. Not worth the pain. So there's no way I'm going to do that. But that's where I stand on this. Yeah, just so many different things in this game make me think that. Lack of inventory space, no doubt, doesn't help things, like the fact you can't put things in key items, like I drag this here. Nope, won't let me. Again, shit design. Like, what the fuck are you doing? It just genuinely makes no sense. Why isn't there just a 6th page? Key items could just take up this. Maybe just the same slot, well, you never know. I don't know. That's just my thoughts on it though. I'm tired of this, really. This is what leads to burnout. It's like, not really reasons to just get off the game, it's just reasons that keeps you in. That's more the issue. Whereas if everything was like weekly or daily restricted, then sure, I'd have more time in my hands. Same with the MAGA event here. You know, if that was limited, I would definitely be playing daily for a few hours if that's what was necessary. Also, this shit again, as I demonstrated, I'm not getting things. So basically, I'm fucking up everyone's spectral because I can't catch anything from it. I've lost so many points on that too. What the fuck is the point in this? It makes no sense. As I said, it's just stupid. Also, I think there's no forfeit button in Triple Triad. Yeah, I think I did actually at the beginning. My god, there's so many things wrong with this game that it's just nuts. Because I couldn't even put it down as a negative recommendation because there are good aspects to it, objectively so. It's just, these things really are a stinker. They do not make the game enjoyable. They make them miserable. And that's specifically for me as a casual player. Yeah, and that sort of reminds me of how Genshin Impact handled the geniusification TCG, like how shit that was. They said in the fucking patch, not the patch, the special program, this is a casual game. Then the moment it released, and we found out it is not a casual game at all. You need specific cards, you need to play everyone, and you need to get the cards from the tavern to win. Like, oh, great, thanks, I guess. And also weekly locks, because there was actually like a gimmick, or a few gimmick card games, but you couldn't even do it without it. These fucking characters, so it just sucked. It was not casual, contrary to belief. So it just was really bad. Yeah, it's the same thing here, to be honest, with Triple Triad. I'm seeing the same thing. It's probably designed to be casual, but it's not. It's actually stupidly competitive and complex. Too much so. Also, this is harder than what is it? Geniusification. It's harder than obviously Gwent, but I prefer Gwent when I was playing The Witcher. I still love Gwent, technically speaking. It's actually probably one of the few card games I would get a physical copy of, or CD Projekt Red. Not as controversial as they are now. Apparently they killed someone. I'm not even joking. Yeah, anyway, I better move on. I've spoken too much. I'm surprised nobody has ever brought this up, but internet educated. Yeah, this is a term. I don't know if it exists, but I've just realised it probably is a thing. And it is worrying. Like, really worrying. It's scary in the sense that it means that we don't actually have to rely on education via, well, school or college or university, which basically means that we don't actually have to rely on it. And I think there is a problem with this, obviously, because I think with people who are internet educated, they're not going to have like life skills exactly. There's going to be a problem in itself, and social skills. I'm quite fortunate to have been in a public school and had friends from said public school, and also weirdos from said public school. We are the weirdos, by the way. But essentially, we're more into like the street sort of stuff than most other people. As in, we sort of understand what goes on, and yeah. Luckily, we haven't even seen much crime, so we're obviously kind of fucked when it comes to that. But, you know, it sort of reminds me of when I was in college and I was walking home one day and I saw someone fucking pass out on his bike, like as he was like stopping, like right behind a car, which luckily saw the biker, a motorcyclist rather. And you know, I was like walking past, I was like, "Do you need any help?" Like, didn't know what to fucking say, didn't know what to do either. Obviously passed out, and I sort of explained what happened. He just stopped there and fell over. I don't really know what else happened, and then I said, like, I've got to go now, I've got a dentist appointment. Yeah, I had to fucking go because I just couldn't handle it with my anxiety and stuff. That wasn't even diagnosed back then. That's the weird thing. So yeah, like, it's really weird, but with internet education, a lot of people just rely on it, and it reminds me of my own music. I was watching the latest Rick Beato top 10 Spotify list. I think it's the April one for anyone wondering, April 2026. Oh boy. Yeah, music is not doing well at all, and I didn't actually really think any of the songs were amazing. At all. They had good moments in some of them, but nothing really stand out. And even then, like, the only ones that I liked were like Ella Langley, was it? I can't remember her name actually. But I only liked her songs, to be honest, because they seem to be the only ones that sort of gave me any sort of sense of something. It's really weird. Yeah, I only got a sense of melody and rhythm from her music. That's even saying something with the other artists on there. There's also that one near the beginning, I forgot the name again, It's like a almost jazzy chord, almost. Not exactly, or more upbeat rather. And then it resolves on the, I guess, like, either the seventh or the, I don't know what it is like in terms of music theory. I'm trying to think. But it like resolves on the chord before it, the chord position before it, which doesn't make any fucking sense. Like, what? Even I write music and I realise that's stupid. And it only works when you resolve it after, but instead they go right back to the same chord. It's like, why? It's so stupid. You know, metal music has a problem with, I suppose, the nature of it just being the open string notes usually, but this is bad. That's real bad. Even metal music sounds more creative than this. But yeah, it sort of reminds me of this thing though that I encounter myself quite often when I'm doing music and struggling. Because I'm struggling to do vocals, which is the main thing for me at the moment, and I've tried to do many other things like change the instrumentals to make it better, and sort of utterly failed because, well, it's not really possible to do that because there is no tutorial on writing in vocals, composing vocals. And even though I do have a voice and I don't sing, I can't sing, rather, that's the difference. I can voice but I can't sing. I've tried it, it doesn't work. I tried making my own melody through my own head of what it should be and it hasn't worked either, so like, I don't know. There is really no tutorial, and this is what I mean by internet educated. Because that's what I have to rely on when obviously can't afford it. I can't afford to do this shit, and that's where we're at with this, because there is no other way around it. I wish I could make music, or make vocals rather, in a way that I like, and it's not possible just because of the fact that there is no reliable tutorial out there on how to make metal vocals of all things. I'm specifically asking for metal. And even then, like clean vocals or even like growly, I don't even know. And in my latest track, again like darkest track I've ever written, it's got a weird thing where, for some reason, I've managed to make it into a Limp Bizkit song. At least what I think is a Limp Bizkit. It's sort of got this tune to it where it's like almost rap vocals, or at least like it's talking-ish. I don't know what you call it. But see, imagine Linkin Park, but it's not Chester, there's the other guy, I forgot his name. But it's him doing the vocals, and that's what I've got for like a call, and then I've got a response with essentially growling vocals. And that's the best I can do. I don't know how to address this problem. It's so fucking awkward and weird. And yeah, like, I don't really have any choice in that because I can't find any tutorial, I can't find any education. Even then, if I was to pay for it, how much would it set me back? Like, come on. In the end, I just try to use references, and even then it doesn't really help because I can't really get an idea. Because sometimes vocals are not really that sort of expressive in terms of words. So I don't even know. It's pretty strange. Trying to think what else there is. I've done most of my learning through the internet, and there isn't really any way around it. I've learned how to use VSTs through that, I've learned how to use everything for it, essentially, and that's only when I've gotten stuck, because there are things I've been able to learn naturally. You could transfer, believe it or not, video editing to audio editing. There are transferable skills, and that is such a thing. Yeah, like, it is a struggle. There's a real struggle with that sort of stuff, and I don't really know the way around it, which is really annoying. As you expect, I want to do the best I can. I want to show that good music still exists, but I'm not obviously contributing to that, and it doesn't help, I suck. Yeah. What do I even say? I guess this is the only thing I sympathise with in regards to how I see other musicians and probably how they appear on the Spotify playlist. I don't know how many of them are quote-unquote internet educated, but I'm not sure. You know, even though I'm good at making melodies, it doesn't mean that I'm going to be good at making vocal melodies. I really fucking suck at it, and I just can't seem to differentiate it. And even that part that I said that I wrote maybe that sounded decent, it's just one note, bar a few syllables, but that's it. I think it's like C sharp, or is it like C sharp tuned to the frequency of 433, because that's the what the song is in. Fun fact. Yeah, I did a pitch shift because it sounded a bit more interesting that way. It sounded much better. I did that at the beginning actually. I sort of took inspiration from Pantera for that, I think. You know, one of the coolest songs they ever made was Floods. And that was a bit shifted down, I think. I'm not sure what else to add, just really. But yeah, that's about it for that. Guess I just wish there was better education. You want to know my only massive issue with the Russia-Ukraine war, and I haven't looked at this for a while. It's been at least 8 months, probably a bit more. And yeah, it gives me a bit of anxiety, but oh well. Apparently the UK is going to be struck with missiles at some point, I don't know, man. Don't really care. To be honest, it's not really a fucking issue of mine. It's the issue for reform voters. So, they've got that to look forward to. Fucking cunts. Here's my problem though. For some reason, every time I look up into this war, it's never news about Russia winning, it's always about Ukraine, and I get that we want to see positive news for obviously the underdog here, which is Ukraine, and Ukraine is doing extremely well by the sounds of it. However, what of Russia? Well, that's the thing I'm wondering. I know it's a weird thing to say, given that I'm as anti-Russian as they come, at least in terms of this war, not anti-Russian people, because some of them, perhaps a portion of them, are actually quite innocent, but, you know, Putin is obviously corrupt and evil, and there has to be something here that's going on that stops, like, well, that causes issues that we're not even noticing. So essentially I think there is a story that's not being told here, where we're not seeing enough reporting on the Russian side to actually know how far they are in terms of quote-unquote winning. And given that we already still have some stupid fucking how is it? Trying to think, yeah, like stupid inclusion of Russian forces, despite the fact that they're obviously essentially a criminal country now because of these issues that they're perpetuating. It's just really bad. But they shouldn't be included in sports, and especially in a war zone. And like in some ways, I don't think Ukraine should either. But that's just because it's to do with the war and stuff. And maybe you've got to keep things or people occupied over, and put things in place to keep yourself occupied. But I don't know. It's a really complicated situation, and that's why I'm often a bit sceptical about what I see online now in terms of the war. And on top of that, it could be AI generated, you never fucking know. But it's so frustrating that we don't really get any unbiased sort of views from this. It's always Ukraine did this, Ukraine did that, and it's good. But it's never like anything truthful, as far as I'm aware, in terms of what the other side is doing, what other sides are doing, for that matter. And I want to ask about what's happened in the 10 months since I've obviously not been sort of into this, not been looking into it. And it just makes me wonder who else has been affected, because obviously Poland was hit with the drone a while ago, like 10 months ago now at least, and I'm pretty sure it entered airspaces of other European countries, but that's about as far as I got with that. And I don't know if they're doing anything else, hence like UK missile thing supposedly happening. Also, that was only said like a few days ago, so you never know. Might wake up one day and say like, oh, I know. It's just something, I guess. So no clue where they're gonna fucking go. To be honest, hopefully it goes to the air bases and stuff where they're deploying stuff for Israel. Obviously, I think that would be the best place for them. But yeah, I think there's just so many issues in the world. It doesn't help when we have reportings that essentially are not unbiased. It just ruins everything. We need unbiased reporting because that's what we fucking need to get by. Like, come on. We need to know what their strengths are, what they're doing well. Because we can't really counter them. We can't even know how to prepare without knowing what obviously Russia are doing as well. Even with what's in their eyes accomplishments, and also what's their negatives, their weaknesses and stuff, which are also through their eyes rather than ours. And we have a very westernised view of stuff, and yeah, what do we even say? Just very strange. So I don't really know. Yeah, I don't really know what to add on this, but yeah. I guess I need to do some research as well. But it's also the same thing with like, obviously US and Iran, and we'd probably hear more about that than something like this Russia-Ukraine stuff, because obviously it's more relevant in the news, and obviously we don't like the side of Israel or US, and we don't even like, well, as far as I know, not many people actually like Iran. From what I understand, actually, they're like a pretty conservative country and not really progressive. So, but it still doesn't justify the war, which is the problem. Like, we really shouldn't be having wars over this shit. It's so stupid, it's so fucking trivial, and it's often about... It actually just reminds me of this other thing that I heard a while ago. I can't remember who said it, but it's like, there's no winners in war, just losers and profits. And yeah, it's literally profits a lot of the time. That's why these wars happen. That's why, for some reason, Trump targeted Venezuela and other places, and doesn't he strike another place at some point between this and the Iran war? I can't remember. Obviously now they're going after Iran, and then Israel's doing stuff at Gaza again, being completely fucking evil. And they used a really horrific method to kill people. Something sulfur, I think it was, which you can't put out, and you probably can't escape from either. Yeah, it's so fucking horrific. It just doesn't make sense. Yeah, it's such an annoying situation, and yeah, I don't really know what else to add, to be honest. But you know, this is a level of corruption, and this is why I say that people really need to have their fucking eyes peeled for this, because it's so fucking annoying to see this situation, to even have it happening. You know, we need to end these wars as soon as possible. Not end them as in win, but stop the things from fucking happening. Stop the unnecessary violence, stop the unnecessary profiting. Because that's all this is about, and people aren't actually viewed as people. And this is why I say that Reform and MAGA are all fucking losers and deserve no mercy. Like, even in the case we get to fucking beat them up, do it. I don't fucking care what happens to them after. But that's because they're complete idiots, and they're actually putting so many lives in danger. They're on the same side as Russia, as Israel, and currently obviously Trump. And Trump's a bit separate from the US, but that's a different story entirely. But that's why it's so fucking problematic. They're putting people's lives in danger for the sake of some stupid agenda. I don't know, protecting paedophiles and rapists for profits or being rich, or even just being complete arseholes to people. So being homophobic, anti-disability, or ableist as well. Being racist. There's so many different things, and this is why I'd put a mention on that. It's because of these cunts that the world is going to be compromised and it's going to be in a far worse place. For reform voters, I'm just going to have to find a phrase that I can reply if I do end up encountering one. I'm trying to think of what I could even say to begin with, like, so you're pro-rapist, you're pro-paedophile. Well, literally they are. That's what they are. Like, that's what they fucking defend. Are you fucking kidding me? It's not inaccurate. It's not false. We've actually got evidence of this. And they're given reform on the side of Trump as well. And they saluted Trump. I've seen this on the live newsfeed, by the way. It's further proof. And they're obviously corrupt and evil. That's why they shouldn't be fucking allowed to run around doing this shit. And obviously in the elections, everyone who's progressive and doesn't want to see fascism take over, which is very much is the case, people don't understand that it's a real word. I think it's like a buzzword rather than something with any meaning. But it is literal fascism. They want to suppress rights, suppress your money for profits, the same as Trump has. They don't actually fucking care about you. So it's like, why? I really don't get people. Sometimes it just makes zero sense. And yeah, it's just evil. Anyway, I think I better move on and concentrate on this jumping puzzle. There's more important things to do, obviously. And to worry about politics. Although I'm worried, to be honest, I'm just waiting for the inevitable. At this point. What the fuck is going on? Anyway, let's move on. Excuse me if I sound out of breath, but that is because I just exercised for 15 minutes straight and I think I've got asthma. Yay. But unlike this, I need to talk about a topic I heard which annoyed me. Yours cast Lewis again. Yeah, I keep talking about Yours cast members. There's Hyperion who makes a few bad claims here and there. One of Lewis's claims, and one of the ones that everyone agreed with for some reason, is so incredibly stupid. I just don't think these people should be saying these things publicly. It's actually weird how stupid this is. It's very unusual for people of this caliber, this popularity as well, to be saying something like this, especially Lewis, or people who have said dumb things, let's be honest. But nothing I've heard out there as dumb as this, I don't think. So, what is it? Well, on the recent mailbag, number 70 I believe, I can't remember actually, Lewis is talking about, it's the recent one, talking about moving into a house, and he has an app problem, which, yeah, like, it goes to the dark side a bit, because you do need to sort of address it in ways that are not obviously favourable, like actually killing the ants, which it's a sad reality, but you do sort of have to do that. And what gets really annoying with this is they go on to talk about insect populations and how they've declined over the years. And apparently there's like a study about this, and then there's also talk about climate change, which is also quite interlinked with this sort of topic, because it is somewhat related. Because, yeah, you need insects to keep the ecosystem up, and without insects we don't really have anything. It's because of insects that we're even here today, believe it or not. But, yeah, it gets complicated because of that. And I just find this mention that they had was just absolute fucking, it's just cringe. Like, it's one of the cringiest things I've ever heard about a take on climate change, but they say it's a good thing because it'll mean warmer summers. Like, what? This is the thing we're fighting against. Because it's going to fucking destroy our ecosystem. What are you on about? Like, it's going to destroy the planet. You fucking kidding me? They say that the reduction in the insect population is good because it means warmer summers. That's something that everyone agreed with. It wasn't even like a sarcastic sort of response. Like, yeah. No, it was real. That's the thing that really caught me off guard about this. Like, what the fuck? Like, you can't be that unhinged, right? To think that this is normal? That warm summers are a justified reason for climate change happening? Like, it's so fucking dystopian. It's actually insane. I genuinely can't believe that. And the reason why I think this is stupid is, again, because of ecosystems and how insect populations are tied to, obviously, not just the surroundings, but the temperature. So an increase in temperature will also kill them and kill animals. And you won't have anything left to appreciate, and on top of that you get a warm summer. It's just ridiculous. I can't believe that is an actual take. It's literally almost in the same line as climate denial, though. It's going through an ice age, it's going through something fucking random that they've made up as well. The ice age is happening, but the difference is people have either looked into it or people haven't. I think the people who looked into it are obviously more educated. We're just speeding up the process. It's just so fucking wonky of a take, it doesn't make sense. You think about the decline we've had in the past few years, and somehow that's the takeaway. And I bloody hate warm summers. I don't like the ones that are like above 24 degrees. Absolutely unbearable. I can't even go out in that temperature. It's that bad, and it's so bad that I've actually wanted to consider getting an aircon system. Like a proper one. Not just my portable, but a proper aircon. But at the very least, maybe even replacing my windows and getting not only more sound windows, but getting side windows so that I can actually position it properly. But that's the extreme, and that isn't actually that extreme for what I want. Because I could go very much further with that, but either way, it just annoys me. It has to be said. I don't really like where this is headed and this sort of conversation. It's obviously dangerous and clumsy, so I don't know. But yeah, that's like my sort of thoughts on that, because that's where I'm at with this. It just genuinely doesn't make any sense. Why are we even having this discussion in this way too? So yeah, I don't know if I've got anything else to actually talk about, but that's pretty much it, I think. So yeah, I'll move on. Thanks for listening. See you next time. I'll probably make this public now. Because yeah, it's kind of a bit awkward about sharing these, but you know, if you want to, you can also go back and listen to the ones you missed. Hopefully you can track them. There's quite a few things in as I do. I label each topic, which not, as far as I know, no other podcast does. So yeah, I'm quite OCD, if you can't fucking tell. So yeah, see you all next time.